also got to match KOO Tigers and their level in the late game, which is one of the best in the entire world. So very difficult for Pain Gaming now.
Extremely difficult. Now, we're going to see Pain Gaming for the second time today, back-to-back, and they will be playing against the KOO Tigers, who truthfully just showed off. They styled on CLG, to borrow a Monty term. What are we expecting from picks and bans here? Lulu was first picked by Flash Wolves in the previous game. Do we think that's something that'll make it through? Do we think it'll be banned away as this time around Pain's on the red side to Fisher?
Well, for Pain, again, the problem is you have to ban the Mordekais and Gangplank. So if you want to give a Lulu first pick, which I think is not very wise against a team who introduced Giacomo to the world, basically, you will have to then ban just the 3 top-tier picks. And there's no room for target bans. That is the problem right now in red side. Unless Pain Gaming say, we got to try, we're going to leave all 3 open. Or try. Be like, okay, you get Mordekaiser, but we then get Lulu, we get the Gangplank or something like that. It could be an option, but it's a very risky one.
Yeah, I think you just ban the TF if you're KOO too.
We'll find out. Picks and bans are about to jump into it. KOO Tigers, for their second game of the day, they will be on the blue side. And the first ban out the gates is Twisted Fate. So nobody wants to give that to Kami. Ashes off the table. And Nah. So the 3 power picks, Maud, Lulu, and GP. Which ones will fall?
So Pain Gaming banned Nidalee in the last game first and then went for Gangplank Mordekaiser, and they were fine giving Lulu. Looks to me like they want to do exactly the same. KOO Tigers saying that we don't want it as a first pick right now. We want to force you now to ban the Mordekaiser, and then KOO Tigers could potentially go Rek'Sai first pick. We have seen that before, or Kalista would be open.
Yeah, and this, I think, coming from the KOO Tigers makes a lot of sense. When they lost to the Flash Wolves, how did they lose? A lot of it was that GP in the late game. Don't give a power pick over that can single-handedly turn the game on its head. Instead, just ban out as many as you can and have faith that you are going to play the late game better.
Mordekaiser is open.
As is Kalista. Yeah. Kalista's the first champ, first time.
Here's
not been available.
Here's what Pain wants to do. They know by leaving Mordekaiser open, it's going to be picked by the KOO Tigers. I expect them now to run a Kalista lane into it. Double range support can beat Mordekaiser in lane and shut down that 0 to 15 minutes where Mordekaiser really shines and where he has to get that first dragon and start getting out of control. Braum, in my opinion, would not be the pick to do it for Pain Gaming unless they want to run a full kite composition. You still got to get to that late game, though, versus the Mordekaiser.
Right, and that's going to be a big problem because the Lulu's already been banned out. Sure, you could take the Braum here, but that may not be enough. And for those of you wondering why the Yasuo is banned by Pain Gaming, in the playoff run that we saw the KOO Tigers go through in Korea, they like to run Malphite Yasuo, huge wombo combo compositions, and it's a dangerous champion to let them have because they build around it so well.
So these early picks for Pain Gaming, I'm not convinced. Again, I was expecting them to. They can still take Kalista later. Obviously, don't have to early lock it with Mordekaiser being there. But look at the picks KOO Tigers are getting. You now have a perma-pushing mid laner with a Nash's Tooth who says, oh, you have a dragon, by the way? Join my lane. We can take this tower. I'm already pushing it in for you. You have a solo laner in Darius who can handle himself in these poke compositions so well as well.
And here's the thing that might come in, too, is the Blitzcrank, because Mordekaiser Blitzcrank is an incredibly strong lane in the laning phase. And the way you want to play around Mordekaiser compositions is just sit at the dragon early, set up a ring of wards, grab somebody, kill them immediately, take the dragon, then siege with that Azir. So this is something that may happen. They're waiting a little bit later in the draft. And I've been waiting for this Lissandra to come through.
But what is it, Pain Gaming, you want to do? Are you now going to run a hard engage comp in some way? So we get the Kalista. Hey, we got that one. At least
half of what you wanted, Deficio.
The problem is just this lane with Kalista Braum, I don't feel like can really kill the Mordekaiser lane, especially not now with Leona in there. The amount of dive pressure, like KOO Tigers are drafted near the perfect Mordekaiser comp because all the picks were available. Let's go through it here. What else do you want in a lane that's perma pushing? You want things that can dive. What it does Elise do the best? She dives the tower so effectively. Together with Leona, the amount of CC is insane.
And how do you play around that dragon? You create picks with the Leona, does act in a way as a single target CC champion, just like the Blitzcrank does. And one thing is, the other champion that Gorilla's been spamming in solo queue, which surprised me alongside Tom Gedge, tons of Leona games here in Europe. So definitely, he's showing a bit of his hand before going into the quarters.
You need wave play if you're Pain Gaming, so Victor is correct in the mid lane. But this comp, I mean, when you see a Mordekaiser and a Darius, you normally say, okay, we need to be able to kite them. Because Mordekaiser in the late game, as a melee champion, it becomes very difficult for him to get that 3 hits on his Q. one-shot that AD carry, so you kite him and you kite him. You still gotta get past the early game. Now Pain Gaming has drafted a comp where there's some elements of hard engage from a Lissandra Gragas, but you do not want to dive onto the Mordekaiser. He wants you to do that.
To me, this just reeks of their last game. We take a look at their composition in the last one, and there's a little bit of a mixed message being sent here by the composition, and I have to say it's going to be probably very tough for them to handle KOO's comp.
Well, laning phase, all important. RTT himself talked about the early game strengths of Pain Gaming. KOO showed no weakness in their early game against CLG. And we're going to see Mordekaiser again here in the World Championships. This time paired with Leona. It's not the Blitzcrank kill lane. This is the go
Close
forward.
enough.
This is the go
Close
forward
enough.
kill
Close
lane
enough.
with Leona.
Leona is close enough. Again, it's all about perma-pushing with double Relic Shield, set up tower dives with the Elise coming down, and then you can take the Dragon, you move into lane where he is already pushing, and that's a free mid-tower.
Wow. It sounds so easy. KOO already showed how easy it is for them to execute high-quality strategies a moment ago. And now we're going to see if they can close out Pain Gaming. Remember what is on the line. If KOO Tigers win this matchup, they guarantee themselves a flight to London and a spot in the quarterfinals. Seeding to be determined. But for Pain Gaming, if they lose, they are flying back to Brazil. Everything is on the line for them. For Pain, they need to win this, and they need KOO to lose more games today for them to stand a chance, or rather, still do a flash race to lose.
And it seems to me that Pain Gaming, instead of saying we will pick a lane that can kill the Mordekaiser, they're picking a lane and a composition that can be fairly difficult to dive. Braum is in there, and then TP Lissandra, who can join in with the mass amount of CC. We might see just a big party in the bottom lane. Victor will not be able to follow, though, really for himself.
My main issue with the Braum pick here is there really isn't anything that Unbreakable is going to block. You know, that it's not really a very useful ability against what KOO Tigers have on the table. So Braum, I feel, is really not an ideal pick in this scenario.
Denied it from Gorilla.
Yes, that was it, basically. But it has been a comfort pick for Pain. In almost every game, they will early pick that Braum for Dude down in the bottom lane. So it seems to me him just saying, you know, I need this pick right here. I don't want to try and risk running a lane where we have to kill them. Crowd can always entertain themselves.
The French crowd is always entertaining. A lot of help from the French casters. Even chanting Pain Game, just a heads up, it's BRTT that did pause for some graphic settings he wanted to fiddle with. He will be back in game very, very shortly.
Very concerning if the screen is already grey now.
It was
just
early game that Pain got an advantage the last time they faced KOO, which dragged the match out. They will not find themselves a target yet, but Pain is fully committed to this invade.
We've seen that about Pain, right? Is that they do have those good early lane swaps. They've been able to make some plays on the map. They seem to understand how to take small advantages in the early game, but when it comes to the jazz part of the game,
they're gonna kill the ward.
But when it comes to the jazz part of the game where you have to go off the sheet music and make it up as you go along, that's where it's not so good.
Oh, they got two! Actually, I don't think I've ever seen two wards killed in that shortest space of time.
Smart little adaptation.
So we had the record shortest game, the record longest game, now the record number of ward kills before 90 seconds.
Beautiful. Record number of wards by 2 players. Put it there.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure that's an accurate statistic.
Well, denies the information, so Pain Gaming now either have to guesstimate.
I mean, it's very clear what KOO Tigers like. Guys, let's get standard lanes, and let's just push it into the tower. So it's very smart. They're sitting there waiting, denying it. So now Pain Gaming has to make the guess, and it will be standard lanes. So Darius also gets his lane up top. Obviously not ideal. Sandra is a very good matchup into these melee champions. But we're going to have to see Milo make plays on the bottom side of the map.
The French crowd is still going, just for the record. Wave is never ending. Grump is picked up there by Dude and BRTT. The Krugs were started by Prey and Gorilla.
That was a mistake. Dude got the last hit on the Grump.
Not giving that XP to BRTT. Just taking a look at the summoner spells. Cleanse for Kami in the mid lane. Flash Exhaust for Prey's Mordekaiser. Kami taking a lot of trades from those Sand Soldiers.
And on the bottom lane, BRTT used his range. One tick too early. They will still get a good trade on the Gorilla with the level 2 support, but the problem is now the BRTT obviously is going to be slightly behind in experience, especially because Mordekaiser This is weird passive, when he just gets full experience in a 2v2 lane. Kinda unfair.
Very unfair, in fact. I wouldn't call it weird. I would say imbalanced would be the word I would use for it. But there you go. Permanent ban, except for right now, we're seeing it in this game.
All right, let's see what Prey can do with it. Mordekaiser got a couple of wins under his belt. Kami is continually being chunked down. Kuro showing he can play a Zia, and it is a very real threat.
This matchup has shifted a little bit after some of the early game nerfs that came in to Victor especially. So it's a little bit easier for the Zia to trade with him at the start, keep shoving in the wave, and then Victor has to get that upgrade and start insta wave thing back. But a big dragon is going to appear, and he does not care about Victor's laser.
Well, last time our HTK ran it, Fisher, you didn't shut up about that dragon.
Because
we may have to rein it back in. We may have to rein you back in.
To be fair, H2K did not use the Mordekaiser that effectively.
No, they didn't, because that was one of the big things. With the Mordekaiser Dragon, you don't want to be attacking the turret. You want to be pushing the dragon next to the turret and auto-attacking their wave clear with the dragon to push them off the objective and just use that zone to push down the turret with the rest of your champion. So it was a bit of a misplay right there. That is how you play Mord right now.
Let's find out if KOO can rally themselves up under a little bit of pressure from BRTT and Huge shoving them in this top lane. Mylon, Lissandra, the soft or quasi counter to Darius, and we'll see how effective he is. Again, Kami just coming away worse for weight in these trades. He's gone through all of his consumables as well.
The problem for him in the lane is always keeping even. That's tough. So keeping even in farm for now, but has to go back and let's see. It's gonna be a 2v2 or 2v1 top.
Beautiful apprehend into Cocoon, and it's just so simple. Smeb even gets the kill. 2 games in a row with Darius first play.
Yeah, you see Hojin right there using that repel, but realizing that the bleed from Darius is going to stop it. Here's some more fighting in the bottom side.
Yude's in trouble. The pop from Prey not going to come down. BRTT and Yude forced to back away. Look at how advantageous that trade was. Kuro again shoving Kami out.
So no surprise the KOO Tigers are winning the bottom lane against the Braum Kalista. In there we see the trades happening, but mid lane being won by KOO Tigers and now the top lane as well. All across the board they are just winning the lanes. 600
gold already in the advantage. Prey and Gorilla just continuing shoving up with that Harvesters of Sorrow. Level 5 on Prey. And we can see some deep vision placed for Hojin. Kami is in a little bit of trouble. Look at the ward around the wolf camp. Hojin and KOO may set themselves up for an early dragon if they can force pain away.
But look at what happens on the map now. When you have so many winning lanes, especially 2 lanes next to each other, situation mid and bot lane, how easy it is for you jungler to just walk into the enemy jungle, set up a bit of D-board, take away a camp, maybe smite the wolves to get more vision. Smep on the top side, he has some flash ready.
Well, they need it, but Mylon actually used that Ring of Frost much earlier on, so no follow-up CC from the body slam. Surtees going to be forced to back away. Mylon just throwing out those ice shards, trying to keep Smep away.
Even though the Darius, of course, does have that limited mobility at the top side, he already has boots too, so he's pretty damn speedy at this point in time and easily able to run away from that gank attempt. And I mean, right now, KOO just waiting, just farming up. It's all about that dragon, how well they can play around on it in the next few minutes.
Go back, get your components towards the Rylai's, keep engaging with Leonek, because then W gets connected, and you cannot trade with that. Braum has to just back away, he's too low damage of his support. You need double range to poke out that Mordekaiser and also push it back. That's the key thing. One thing BRTT can do is go Hurricane first, just to try and counter the wave clear coming in, like how fast Mordekaiser can push it back, but his damage with it is just not going to be that great.
The problem is while that counters the wave clear, it doesn't offer really anything for the team fights that have to be happening around the dragon, because if he's using Hurricane, he has to hit multiple targets and have to back off the turret right here. And if he hits multiple targets, he's in range of Leona, he's dead.
Yeah, Children of the Grave is available for Prey. Gorilla looking for the dive, getting closer to level 6. The Solar Flare, which is not going to connect to the Cocoon this time around, but Mylon's going to back away.
And I like what Hojin is doing, because he knows he doesn't want to dive this early on in the game against a 2v2 lane. So he just keeps getting Smeb ahead, because what's going to happen then is Smeb with his advantage, he's going to take it and bring it to the bottom lane as well with teleport. And suddenly you have a 4-man squad down there for KOO Tigers that's basically unkillable, because they've been winning the lane so much. And then you can start setting up the dives, and then you take the dragon, and then you start going straight.
And I like the addition of a Zia with this Mordekaiser. It's going to make taking towers so much easier. That Arise with the W, use the soldiers and the dragon to zone everybody away and counterbalance some of the weaknesses of multi-melee carries. And it's just all KOO Tigers. We're 8 minutes in and they've already got themselves CS advantages on every lane, really. And a gold lead thanks to First Blood.
Well, and their farm advantage too, right? Smev's been doing a great job of holding his own in that top side, turning the First Bloods into an even greater lead. And here he goes again.
Ooh. Just out of range for the apprehend.
The CPITT goes for Cutlass first, so he wants to sustain, he wants more single target damage. Again, the problem is, if you cannot push back the wave, you'll be stuck under your tower, and then it's no longer 2v2 lanes. It will be 2v3, 2v4, maybe even 2v5 if KOO wants to join in and have some fun. And that's where it starts becoming a big problem for this Kalista brawl. So,
or you just take Dragon for free, too. You don't even have to dive at that point.
Do that, just push it in, poke him down, kill Sergi.
Sergi's in so much trouble. He flashes away, followed by the repel. He's going to get him the body slam. Gets caught out, and it's actually one lost auto attack that secures it. The Glacial Fissure has come down, but it's in fact Prey that's got himself a kill. The teleport followed through from Mylon. They're trying to focus Mylon down, in fact, after TPing in. Gorilla and Prey, they are going to take a turret shot. A second one, and Prey's going to be forced to get out. They almost won. What was a 2v3?
Well, Gorilla was actually minion blocked there, so he couldn't actually escape that, but it was Mylon coming down with the teleport, Smev not willing to follow that one up, so they do trade 1 for 1. But now KOO Tigers with the TP advantage right when they want to take Dragon.
And you have early AP now on your Mordecai. Rylai's first item, we see it almost every single time. I think Prey could easily move these ghosts.
Prey might be in trouble.
Out of power range. Might get killed by Mylon.
Oh, look at that. The Ring of Frost locks him down. Braum passive is going to be up. He has that TP advantage. Prey flashes forward aggressively. Gets some HP back from the Harvester of Sorrows. Mylon's going to trade autos. Gets taken out by Smev. We do see Dude rocking up. BRTT is going to try get away with that passive. The Marshall Boy. The slam dunk from Smev. Says you will go home, and KOO Tigers look for the tower as well.
We keep seeing why teams like this Darius pick, because once he gets rolling, he can just get out of control. A massive bruiser with so much damage in the front line.
Well, you know, it's one of those picks that's very polarizing, right? Because we've seen a lot of players try him out, and he really hasn't been that effective, but if you know how to play him aggressively and you can keep track of your enemies' cooldowns, and I think that's really the most important part of Darius, keeping track of those, and you can really go in and clean up. And there's the Dragon coming out.
And remember, Mordecai doesn't have to be close to the Dragon. He can move it across the entire map. He's back in base now, and his Dragon is trying to be annoying near tower and hit Kami in the head a few times and just tank up to let KOO get some damage. So
this is how you use it.
Kami's losing the fight to the ghost of Dragon Past. He'll get dropped eventually, but forced away. That means there's not going to be a death ray here if KOO wants to keep pushing.
Not the greatest use of the Dragon ever, but after that one fight at the bottom side, transitioning into the Dragon, you'll take it if you're the KOO Tigers. You're expanding your gold lead regardless.
And you go back and you push the bottom lane some more. And now you can see Gorilla and Hojin. They use it to go and get some deep vision. Prefer them to check the small bush and play out the pink, but obviously want to play it a bit safe as well.
Prey is 3 levels up over BRTT right now. In fact, Dude actually has the level advantage over BRTT, so there's really...
Got the grump.
Yeah, there's really nothing...
Going right.
There's not really much he can do against Prey and Gorilla, because if he tries to walk in that lane with no summoners, he's just going to get killed by the Ignite.
Now, this is impressive from KOO Tigers. 11 minutes in, they've got themselves another substantial gold lead. They've got Tower, Dragon, etc. And they're showing off champions that we've not seen previously. KOO Tigers are sending a very big message in a game where they didn't necessarily need to, but they are demonstrating an ability to play champions like Mordecai.
Newsflash, they can pick Mordecai like
Of course.
But let's remember that Pain Gaming wanted them to pick the Mordecai. They banned Yasuo as the last one. KOO taking a lot of damage though.
It is indeed. The Gravity Field gets the stun, but the Chaos Storm's already worn out. And KOO's going to be able to get away. Kami just did not have the AP for that to work.
But again, Pain Gaming said to KOO Tigers, we want you to pick Mordecai. So we could ban it as the last one because Lulu got banned by KOO Tigers. It could make just a standard. All 3 top tier picks are gone. This strategy against it though, I just do not agree with. Picking a bottom lane that's not going to win against the Mordecai 2v2. Obviously the plan was to use the Santos and just camp the bottom lane with TPs over and over and over. but you also gave away Elise. You took the Gragas yourself. Gave away Elise, so there's a stronger early jungle on the side of KOO Tigers, where the composition shines in the early game. So PNG Gaming is giving away too many good picks for KOO Tigers.
Surti's down. Caught by a cocoon, and it's just coming apart at the seams.
Well, there's a pink ward in the river, so they know it was absolutely free to walk up into that blue buff. They had the timer on it. Now they're really going to be putting the pressure on. Smeb has already pushed out the top lane, so he can just sit here and auto the turret right in mid. That's going to be the mid turret going down in the first tower of the game. And this really just opens up absolutely everything for KOO.
Exceptional play for the KOO Tigers. Their decision making, pressure on the map. Smeb 40 CS up, 60 CS for Prey over BRTT. This early pick, Braum, as Deficio has highlighted many times, simply just not paying off. And for Pain, the only option is now wave clear from Surti and Kami to stall this out. But I feel like Darius and Mordekaiser are just so far ahead, it's highly unlikely.
Double the CS for the Mordekaiser. And Dragon should be up in about 3 minutes time. He's obviously looking to secure that one. And in a group that a lot of people call the weakest group at the World Championship here, Group A, we're still seeing a KOO Tigers team who are showing that early game for them, they can make great plays. CLG, 2 games in a row, they were so dominating from the start, outplaying mechanically CLG. And to me, that just really shows how good this team can be, because again, they used to fall behind. They used to not doing that well in the early game in Korea. If they fix that, if they can do this against even better teams,
well, that's going to be the true test.
That's going to be the test, right, getting into the bracket stage.
Well, it's not only that. I mean, we talk about a player like Kuro, and we came into today saying that this guy's a 39 KDA. His one death before dying to Pole Belter in that mid lane in the last game was a fountain dive at the end of the CLG game on Victor. So his individual performance has really stepped up, I think, at this tournament so far. Has he had the toughest opponents? No, that's true, and he's going to need to keep getting better if they want to make a deep run at this event. But it's an encouraging sign for sure.
Yeah, I still think that KOO Tigers are showing that they could be looked at as the 3rd best team right now in this tournament, because LGD has been falling off. KT lost Origin, obviously they are very close between KT and KOO, and Origin up there fighting for that 3rd spot.
I wouldn't count EDG.
Bold claim.
EDG is the 2nd, don't worry. SKT 1, EDG 2. We're talking only the 3rd spot. Only the 3rd spot.
Only the 3rd spot. Well, we'll see more games from each of the respective teams. But yeah, all outer towers have dropped. Dragon's up in now 1 minute. Prey was able to get that ghost. Really shoved Kami away from that mid lane. But look, bottom lane shoved up. There is a plethora of wards in Pain Gaming's everywhere. And KOO can just make all of the informed decisions. I mean, Smeb is solo pushing top lane with 0 resistance.
Yep, proxy farming as well. He's getting behind that turret. He's going to get some more gold right before this comes up. Just has a chance to deny some CS and recall very freely. And Hojin just delaying Pain. And you can see they're already have a ring around the dragon. They're trying to deny any kind of vision from Pain going in there. And Smeb just keeps pushing.
Gonna get to that inner turret. Get some damage on it. And KOO, they're not going to waste time.
Prey's 3 levels above BRTT.
It's been that way this whole game.
Gorilla's a level above BRTT.
Doing it with Mordekaiser.
Here we go. Dragon up in 1. Smeb just sorting him out in the enemy jungle. And 2-man drag. Hojin and Prey going in for that objective.
So KOO set a record for the 2nd highest gold lead at 20 minutes against Counter Logic Gaming earlier today. Around 11,000 gold. We presently have just shy of 8,000 gold in the lead. Let's see how many towers can fall if they can get close to that. With Dragon sieging power and Smeb keeping Mylon busy in the top lane. Let's see what Pain can do. They're going to be relying so heavily on Kami again. Not even going to challenge it, in fact.
No, because PNG Gaming knows they can just get killed right here. If they move too close, Leone ultis and the engage is on.
Pretty much have to give it up right now, only taking about 50% of the Ghost Dragon's HP. And Smeb just been pushing up. He's prepped that wave perfectly for a smooth movement up into the top side of the map and another easy tower. Apprehend the brush.
Just in case, you never know.
You can't take brushes to jail, though.
Well, Smeb wants to try. You see that Dragon getting some damage onto the top inner turret. Sir T, he's decided to engage onto Kuro. Kuro's killed by BRTT. The solar flare comes down and Mylon goes, he throws down the ulti. Glacial Prison, I forgot the name, manages to survive, gets the heal, and Pain Gaming survive, getting 2 kills.
Alright, KOO Tigers getting a little bit confident, staying very close, and great engage from Sir T to start the fight.
And remember, this may have been a 7,000 gold gap, but KOO has not gone back in a long time, so it was actually much closer in terms of items than we could have seen otherwise. Take a look at this fight again. Kuro getting a little bit greedy in the side here. He walks way too far forward. Great flash engage from Sir T.
Then fight is on. Good bait for Mylon as well with the ulti, just in time before he gets stunned. And Gorilla caught onto the turret as well. So 2 very important kills for Pain Gaming. They need to keep doing this. So they need to rely on KOO Tigers to keep being over-aggressive.
And you can see where the risk in running Mordekaiser then lies. Taking towers, even with a substantial gold lead, yes, it hadn't been spent necessarily, but very challenging without that ranged auto-attack champion to take down the tower.
Obviously it becomes harder for Mordekaiser when it comes to these towers, because Dragon, once your team gets more damage, they can take down that Dragon. The same difficulties are not there as in the mid-game, but you already got a big enough gold lead. I mean, you've gotten everything you wanted from this Mordekaiser pick already, just by taking that mid tower and winning the bottom lane so hard.
Luden's Echo, second item on Mord. That Mace of Spades is going to hit real hard with all the additional burst and AP.
I'm a bit surprised by that. I thought we'd be seeing, of course, the Twin Ghost. It does make hunting down people significantly easier on Mordekaiser, but he's gone for the big power spike, the big burst damage item instead. I mean, if he can make it work, it should be good.
Well, 202, he's got double the CS of his opposite number. And we see Mylon's in trouble. He throws down, won't even get to throw down the Frozen Tomb, which is the correct name of the ultimate. Sir T, explosive cast goes down, but he's cocooned. And it's a double dunk for Smeb and a red buff for KOO.
Smeb has been such a monster on this Darius. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous what he's been able to accomplish both in and out of lane on this champion. No one's been able to kite him effectively. Just has no fear about going in to these team fights and just very patiently waiting for when he knows he can make the play.
Those damage percentages that we talked about earlier, Smeb was the #1 damage share rank for his team. That's going to continue to stay the trend after today's 2 games.
He's the highest damage percentage top laner in this tournament so far overall. By like 3% too, so it's quite a bit.
Wow, last effort for Pain. If Baron is secured, it's going to be so difficult to wave clear at this stage. BRTT is way out of position. He will at least interrupt the Baron, so that is the only positive to draw from this play. Mylon expended his teleport as well.
KOO didn't want to risk a smite steal for 13. Said, you know what, we are so far ahead, we technically don't even need that Baron. Right now, we can wait for next Dragon. But getting it and then splitting up in 3 lanes and just start pushing into the base is going to be the way for KOO Tigers to just close out this game as fast as possible for them.
Especially when we have a split pusher who's already 6-0-0 like this Darius is. He has a Spirit Visage complete. He doesn't really have to worry about Mylon dealing too much damage to him. And with BRTT so far behind and on the Blade of the Ruined King first, basically he's going to go untouched in these team fights, continue to heal himself with the Spirit Visage passive. Should be easy.
Not sure this ping ward can reach all the way in the back. It's honestly a very bad ping ward being placed here because it doesn't see outside the pit around the corner and it doesn't see the back of the pit either. So it's technically the worst place you can put it, but Smeb is here to zone them away.
It's a double bait. They want the fight. KOO are going to lock down Sir T. The solar flare comes out and Sir T is killed. Baron secured by KOO Tigers as it is a complete rout. The ghost of BRTT will chase his own teammate down and KOO Tigers get 4 kills and a Baron. I think that ward was intentional, Deficio.
No one can kill.
It worked.
No one can kill Smeb in these fights. He just went out solo in the back of the pit right there to zone off the enemy team. Ends up with a triple kill due to the fact that he has these Merc Treads and the Spirit Visage. He's even taken, I mean, he's just lowering the cooldown on his Flash and TP right now with his Enchant. So, very confident about going into these fights.
Why not? I mean, your team have won every single lane in this game here. You got, in my opinion, probably the perfect draft with Mordekaiser as well. Dives, strong top laner, good early jungler, wave clearing mid laner. I mean, everything was there for KOO Tigers. And Pain Gaming, they gave this comp. They could have taken away picks. They could have banned the Mordekaiser. No. Yasuo banned, more important.
Got rid of Yasuo and Ashe.
Ashe I can agree on.
Instead of Mordekaiser. I got a question. What difference would it have made if Prey was on Ashe, landing the crystal arrows instead of the dragon ghosts?
So, Vitrio and I were watching some of these VODs last night. Prey's use of Hawkshot is nuts. Like, it's almost perfect in the way that he played the early game against CLG. KOO always knew where everyone was on the map. Xmithie was always being seen. His jungle pathing was very well known by the KOO Tigers. So we can look at his impressive arrows. You can say, wow, Prey was hitting all those arrows from the top lane, but what's even more impressive is there is almost no way to surprise them when they're playing that Ashe. And I think that went a little bit overlooked.
Yeah, probably could talk about that hawk shot for about 2 hours, I think, at least, because he's so spot on with it. So is this dragon call into the base of PNG.
So middle inhibitor turret was dropped a minute ago. Inhibitor on the bottom lane is down. Inhibitor in the middle lane will follow shortly. The Baron is sitting with KOO Tigers. They have Baron empowered minions as well. Pain did have a solitary tower kill. If they are unable, well, when Pain Gaming lose this game, they will be out of the 2015 World Championships, and Gorilla's gone in. He manages to stun BRTT, but BRTT managed to flash away. Kuro gets the first kill of the final fight, and Gorilla will lose his life. We just see a Nexus turret falling as Prey continues to throw out the spells. Mylon is going to use the Frozen Tomb as Smeb goes very aggressive. The gravity field is down and Smeb's got a ton of stacks in him. The Rend will not be enough. The Nexus is being focused after 24 minutes. KOO Tigers will be looking to close out two of the shortest games.
Not sure they can.
And they will be forced away for the time being. Deficio, there are super minions on the way in, and KOO are playing real confident. 24.5 minutes, look at this. Baron empowered minions still coming in. And we see Kuro, he finds himself a kill onto Mylon. The repel back from Hojin keeps him alive. The Nexus is being focused, and KOO Tigers have punched their ticket to the quarterfinals in London.
Well, another impressive performance by KOO. After that loss to Flash Wolves, they come back. They have 3 incredibly decisive games, back to back to back. And they just look just insanely strong. That one loss, I think, really galvanized their performance, helped them move forward in this tournament, and they've just kept on rolling.
And I think it's important to highlight that. The loss to Flash Wolves was a tough loss. It was a long game. There's a lot of debate and discussion around picks and bans and play style, etc. But the last time that happened to KOO internationally, they crumbled. They've done the exact opposite. They have come back looking more refined, sharper, more intelligent, and more determined to just crush the rest of this group.
And they played Tom Kench.
That was pretty great.
I loved it.
And I think it's worth talking about that too, because if we look at IEM, if we in Korea, if we look at the spring finals, when they got into a high pressure match, either internationally or even domestically in the finals against SKT, they mentally crumble. And you can tell when KOO is tilting, because what happens is Hojin starts repeatedly ganking top lane for no reason. It's a very weird tell from the KOO Tigers, where there's not a lot of kill pressure, and Smeb is the shot caller, and you're like, okay, what's going on here? And it's Smeb being like panicking, I think, and saying, you gotta come top, you gotta come top.
Help me, help me, help me.
But I haven't seen it in a really long time. We didn't see it in the playoffs this season, and we're certainly not seeing it in a very stressful situation now.
So, KOO Tigers guaranteed a spot in the quarterfinals, as we've mentioned. For Pain Gaming, they are now no longer able to make it to the bracket stage, but they can play Heartbreak, they can play Spoiler, they play Counterlogic Gaming later
That's
today.
be an important one.
And CLG are going to have a difficult day ahead. They've still got to play Flash Wolves. There's the possibility for tiebreakers in this now middle of the table for that, top 2 seeds in the group. It's going to be interesting to see how Pain play.
I mean, CLG just lost 2 games against KOO Tigers. Obviously, they're looking at this team now and saying they're playing really well. And CLG should still be the favorites when they're facing Pain Gaming. But Flash was one. That's the one I'm looking at. That's going to be the really key game for both teams.
And we have to wonder in this group, has CLG been figured out? Can these other teams emulate what the KOO Tigers have done to dissect the fast-pushing strategy that CLG started out this group with? Because if that's true, I don't know how deep CLG's compositions run, because they just went for the same thing again in the second game versus KOO, and it wasn't effective. So CLG has to figure out something else. And we also heard Doublelift saying, this is our first loss in months against the KOO Tiger, and now they got crushed back-to-back. What is the mentality of this team going into this next game?
We've seen them struggle in the past when it came down to these situations. A bit like KOO Tigers, obviously they're not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
It's up to CLG to bounce back, honestly, and beat Flash Wolves and PNG Gaming.
So that'll be the games for the rest of today. For KOO Tigers, they still have a rematch with the Flash Wolves as well, showing just how they've pulled apart anybody, their opponents rather. Is there any chance that Flash Wolves are going to pull this one back? I mean, Monty, you came in today, as always, saying KOO Tigers is going to 3-0, but I didn't quite expect it to be this definitive.
I didn't either. I thought CLG would adapt better and try and do something else, but they just tried that same strategy that we've seen both C9 and CLG running. And I don't know why you would try that again, but they did, and it didn't work.
It really did not work, and all credit to KOO Tigers for figuring out a reply and executing it so well. With that, we're going to head to Shux in the interview area, where she's going to chat to the first quarterfinalists of the 2015 World Championships.
Indeed. Thank you very much, guys. Smeb, who is quarterfinals bound after that amazing game. And I want to start by talking about his performance specifically. 9-0 on Darius. And it's been a lot about the top laners in this tournament. Balls getting a pentakill. SKT with Moran doing fantastically. How have you been reflecting on your own performance, Smeb?
이번 경기 승리 축하드리고요. 다리우스로 이제 9킬 0데스라는 엄청난 경기를 보여주셨는데 이번 대회 특히나 이제 SKT의 마린 선수가 캐리한 모습이나 C9의 이제 볼 선수가 펜타킬 기록하는 등 되게 쟁쟁한 탑라이너들이 많은데 스맵 선수는 본인의 경기를 어떻게 평가하시나요?
저도 지금 그러니까 탑라이너들이 굉장히 잘하시더라고요. 한국의 탑라이너들이. 그래서 저도 많이 사실 부담감이 좀 있었는데 그래도 이번에 오늘 조금 잘 하게 돼서 네, 기분 좋은 것 같아요.
Since all the Korean top laners are performing so well, I actually had some pressure. But after today's game results, I feel a lot better and relieved.
Relieved and in a pretty good spot, and your entire team has been doing great. You're up against the Flash Wolves later, and last week, that game was your downfall. What kind of a different KOO Tigers are we seeing than the one we saw last week versus those Flash Wolves?
이제 조별 마지막 경기로 이제 플래시 wolves 팀이랑 하게 됐는데 지난주에 이제 플래시 wolves 팀한테 패배한 KOO Tigers랑 또 이번 주에 연승 가도를 달리고 있는 KOO Tigers랑 좀 다른 모습 같은데 지난주에 KOO Tigers랑 이번 주에 KOO Tigers랑 어떻게 다른지 좀 말씀해 주세요.
저번 주에 그 플래시 wolves한테 졌을 때 정말 암울했었거든요. 그래서 조금 더 다들 이 롤드컵이 예선이 좀 더 절실해졌던 것 같아요. 그래서 매 경기마다 진짜 최선을 다하는 그렇게 됐던 것 같아요.
So when we lost to Flash Wolves last week, we became desperate of every single game during group stages, and we thought that we had to try our best, put our best in every single game. So that made ourselves change to this week's KOO Tigers.
Well, you guys have looked unstoppable so far this week. You could still get first seed or second seed in this group, but you're in the quarterfinals. What is an opponent you would really like to play against in the quarterfinals, and why?
이제 남은 경기 결과에 따라서 이제 조 1위가 될 수 있고 2위가 될 수도 있지만 그러면 이제 스맵 선수가 8강에서 특히 붙고 싶은 팀이 혹시 있는지 말씀 부탁드립니다.
저는 특히 붙고 싶은 팀보다는 좀 만나기 싫은 팀이 이제 B조의 푸나틱인데 지금 푸나틱이 조금 이제 위기잖아요. 그래서 2위 올라온 다음에 2위로 올라올 것 같은데 푸나틱만 만나고 싶지 않아요.
There isn't a specific team that I want to play against, but I would like to avoid Fnatic. Fnatic, even though they're not playing that well, they have a high chance of advancing as their second seed, which would mean they have a chance playing against us if we get the first seed. So I'm a bit worried about Fnatic at this point.
Well, very interesting. EU fans, don't lose hope. We heard it from Smeb. Thank you very much, Smeb, and congratulations on locking in that quarterfinal spot for the KOO Tigers. We are going to take a quick break, but there's a lot more action coming your way as the Flash Wolves go up against CLG in the next game. So don't touch that browser. We will be right back.
We do see Dude rocking up. BRTT is going to try to get away with that passive. The bottom boy, the slam, dunk!
Nice. Nice, Studio, nice.
Very nice.
Go. Nice. Nice.
The solar flare comes out and Surti is killed. Baron secured by KOO Tigers as it is a complete rout. And KOO Tigers have punched their ticket to the quarterfinals in London.